gas prices all over the place. What's the highest price you've seen on your national tour?
Well, when
campaign?
I leave Texas, all of a sudden I'm impressed because I see number 4 frequently.
Right.
And I've been very impressed by that. But, I guess things don't go straight up or straight down. My guess is that long term, they're going to continue to go up. I remember the 70s so clearly. A barrel of oil was $5, went up as high as 40, over a 10-year period. It went down, back down to 10. Yeah. And there's all kinds of reasons, embargoes and the various reasons they give you drilling, why prices go up, supply and demand. But what they don't talk about is inevitably the value of the dollar. So if you look at the value of oil and the value of the currency, it does a lot of this, but long term, it reflects the basic value of the dollar. And the value of the dollar is going down, so the price of oil and gasoline, long term, will continue to go up. And if you have a crisis, if we continue to mess up in the Middle East and mess around with Iran, and that breaks out, you could see $200 barrel gasoline, and you're going to see a real chaos in this country. That's the potential.
We have had sitting Fed officials, including Bullard from St. Louis, the Fed president in St. Louis, who have said that they do believe that all of the easy money policies have had some impact on the commodities market. He talked about oil in particular. Right. But I don't think you'd see them say that we shouldn't do the steps that we've taken as a result. It's something I think they believe we need to watch, but they still think that monetary policy and having the Fed riding over that is an important tool.
Well, I can understand it, and you even made the point there about the pain that might go through if you do that. I look at it in medical terms. It's sort of like an addiction. Getting off a drug isn't easy, but if you don't get off the drug, you kill the patient. And our economy does depend on government stimulus and spending and inflation and bailing out and honoring, this moral hazard that we will bail you out, because if you remove it, there is some suffering from that. But long term, it isn't good. And we are addicted to this system. It's not going to be easy. I don't think nothing can be solved until we as a people reassess what the role of government ought to be. If everybody thinks we should be the policemen of the world and have this entitlement system from cradle to grave, run our personal lives and have this monstrous government violating our civil liberties, I'll tell you what, no, this is going to continue. So we have to once again reassert ourselves and decide what type of government do we want? Do we want to have this micromanager?
Another part of your platform is that you think the U.S. should pull back quite substantially on foreign aid.
Oh, no, not just foreign aid, especially the military and everything. I mean, our national debt went up $4 trillion due to the spending overseas in the last 10 years, fighting wars that were undeclared, unwinnable. We don't know why we're there. There's so much chaos. The violence is getting worse in Iraq. They're talking about Kurdistan breaking away. They want to go in. We're into Syria already. They're anxious to go into Iran. All this nation building going on. No, I want to get out of there. There's no benefit whatsoever.
And it's a consistent part of libertarian philosophy that these foreign entanglements create the nexus for the ceding of freedoms back home.
You mean?
In other words, if we're going to have all these expenses overseas, then we have to cede certain financial freedoms at home to pay for it.
Oh, all the time. And look at what has happened to our civil liberties. It's an economic consequence. There's a civil liberty component to it. Oh, yes. And it doesn't help our national defense. The interesting thing is...
It doesn't help our national defense?
One second. The interesting thing is in this current campaign, I get more money than all the other candidates, even way back for the last year, than all the other candidates put together. So my foreign policy is what is attracted to the military.
You said it doesn't help our national defense to be in all these places. Why not?
Because of the blowback phenomenon. We go over. How can it help us building more and more enemies? How can it help us by saying we're occupying your country? And I like to tell people, look at it this way. What if anybody did to us what we do to other countries? And we march in, we put our troops in, we kill a lot of people. We now have declared war on the world with a global war on terrorism, and every spot on the earth is vulnerable to our our drone attacks.
But it happened as a result of 2011,
September
11, 2001.
That is an excuse, and it's a misunderstanding. The war in Iraq was planned. The first speech I gave against the war in Iraq was in 1998 because the policy was changed, and I said our policy now is to remove Saddam Hussein. He used to be our friend, but now we're going to get rid of him. No, that was an excuse. Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with 9/11, and Saudi Arabia, which is our best friend, runs the Sharia law, 15 out of the 19. We don't say a word about them.
No question that we were attacked on our soil, though. I mean,
Sure,
no question that we were attacked, and how do you respond?
Maybe if you understand Al Qaeda, yes, they purposely did it, and they explained exactly why. And they said it was because we had troops in Saudi Arabia on their holy land, and we had this embargo and bombing mission for 10 years in Iraq that our people admitted killed 500,000 children. That's what the Muslims know about. So they felt very justified to get our attention. But to say,
what would you say about what Saddam Hussein did to his own people, for example?
Well, what did the Soviets do to their own people, and what did the Chinese do, and what did Pol Pot do? How much did we tolerate there, and how much suffering is going on in Africa?
Big jump from that to whether or not that's a reason for a U.S. invasion.
No, look, you know where I stand on the larger picture.
I have to read
I'm probably
the tea,
closer
so
to
I
him,
really
but
can't argue this now.
there are issues.
I agree
that you could fight back on. So.
He sure makes you think, that congressman.